Hi, my name is Manpreet Singh and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel focuses on real estate and mortgage insights. This channel aims to empower viewers with the knowledge to make informed decisions in the real estate market. Please subscribe to stay informed about the Canadian real estate market. Hi, my name is Manpreet Singh and today I have a very special guest, Mr. Fawad. Fawad, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to start off with a few questions and take the conversation from there.
Sure.
My first question is, how long have you been in the business and what exactly inspired you to join real estate?
I have been in real estate almost a decade now, coming to 9 years. 2014 is when I started studying for the real estate courses. I had a government job, worked for the province of Ontario, guaranteed
Nice.
pension benefit, and I did HR. And I was content and happy with what I had. I thought I was going to do this for the rest of my life because, once you get a government job, you're pretty much set. But my brother was a real estate agent. He started a few years before me and kept asking me, you should get your license. You're very social and you talk to people, you're going to do very good and you should get your license. I'm like, no, I'm happy where I am. My income was pretty decent and I don't have to worry about it, another job anymore. It's a guaranteed pension and benefit, as I said. And he kept asking me, well, you should get your license just in case. Just have it, maybe do it part-time. So I finally gave in, I think it was in 2014. He said, okay, fine, I'll go get my license. But I'm going to do it part-time. I'm never going to quit my government job. He's like, yeah, just get your license. And again, I wasn't entirely into real estate. You know how when you ask people, why did you choose real estate? They say, well, I love houses. I love, architecture. I love helping people. None of those things were true for me. The whole reason I wanted to do real estate is to make a lot of money. And that's a reality of things. A lot of real estate agents, because you want to have a better life for yourself, for your family. And I wanted to make a lot of money. That was the goal. So again, 2014, I started the courses, but it took me, I think, a year and a half to do all 6 courses to get my license. And I remember when I became a real estate agent, I was helping a client and they asked me, I was doing it part-time. They asked me, so do you do this full-time? I said, yeah, absolutely, I do it full-time. And I think that bothered me a lot because that's not how, we're brought up. We say how it is, black and white, no gray area. And it bothered me that, I lied to somebody and potentially that's their biggest investment in their lifetime. They want to buy a house. And I told them, yeah, I do this full-time, but I didn't. I wasn't doing full-time. And it got to a point that I said, well, I can't lie to people. So I'm going to quit my job, jump right in and do this full time. Prematurely, I quit my job, resigned from the role. Everyone told me you're crazy. Why are you quitting your job? You have, this good job, guaranteed income, and you're going to go to something that is 100% commission based. And you don't have clientele. How are you going to survive? I said, well, as long as my wife's okay with that, we can do it. So had a conversation with my wife, who's an amazing person, and, one of my biggest supporters. He's like, yeah, go for it. If that's what you want to do it. So I resigned from my role and I jumped in to do real estate full time. Of course, my brother was there. He was my mentor, still is today, So I asked them, how do you do business? Because when you go take real estate courses, they don't teach you about how to market yourself, how to brand yourself, how to go find clients. Basically, what you're learning is how not to get in trouble with the law.
True.
Right? How not to mess up those contracts when you're representing a buyer, fiduciary responsibilities and so on.
Yeah.
So I thought I knew everything because I have my license. And here I am on my first year. And I think I wanted to work with the best of the best in real estate. And at that time, I joined the team. he still does real estate full time. Amazing guy, and he has 40, 50 agents now.
Nice.
So I wanted to learn from him, and I worked with him for a year. I made a whopping $8,000 on my first year as a real estate agent. It was 16,000, but because I worked in a team, it was half, so $8,000. And I was questioning what happened. Like, I thought I was going to do this and I was going to be very successful, sell 50 houses on my first year.
And that was your first year?
That was my first year. First year, I made 8,000. Second
Wow.
year, I think I made around 31,000. So it was a struggle at the beginning, but, coming from HR background, I'm all about policies, processes, procedures, and I wanted to do this right. So not only represent the client in the right way, but also take a step back to learn about real estate, right? I took a lot of time to learn everything myself. I learned how to represent buyers, represent sellers, market research, real estate data, stats, and I'm a nerd when it comes to those things. I'll spend 10 hours trying to figure something out, and that's how I am naturally. And I want to know how to do this so I can delegate it eventually. I'm going on a tangent, but basically, that was, on my third year, I got better and I made some money. And the fourth year, and, I could not see myself doing anything else but real estate. It doesn't feel like a job. I work 12, 13, 14 hours some days.
Nice.
6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week. I try to have that, work-life balance because I have 2 kids. But it doesn't feel like work. I could, drive around and show houses, go to listing appointments from one end to another end. And it is not for everybody. People think, oh, I'm going to get my license, sell 10 houses,
Start
$1 million
making money.
each, so that's $25,000 commission.
Yeah.
I sell 10 houses, I'm going to make $250,000. Good luck with that. It requires a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice for you to be able to sell 10 houses a year. I mean, we have shocking real estate stats. I did one in 2023. At that time we had 76,000 agents. I think right now we have around 86,000 or 84,000 agents. Out of that 76,000 agents, 40,000 agents did not sell a single house.
Yeah.
So I can understand, some people go get their license just to, sell and buy their own houses. And the other segment was about 20 something thousand of agents doing 3 to 4 deals a year. So those are your part-time agents.
Yeah.
If somebody's looking to get a cashback, those are your perfect, candidates because they work full-time. So their commission is, just icing on the cake. So they want to do that a little bit extra. So, but don't expect the whole knowledge of the real estate, the market, because they're doing it part-time. They cannot commit that 10, 12, 13 hours day in and day out to be able to provide you sound advice, better investment, things like that. Yeah. So 3 to 4 deals for 20,000 agents. So now we have 60,000 agents. Half of them, 40,000 of them are not selling a single house. The other 20,000 selling 3 to 4 house. And then you have roughly about 10,000 agents selling somewhere between 4 to 6 houses. Those are your full-time agents, and they're trying.
And that's a year.
That's a year, yeah. Oh, 4 to 6 houses. So just because you have a license, a real estate license, doesn't mean you know what's happening with the marketplace, right? I know some agents, they've been in the business for 3 years. They have done a lot more deals than somebody who's been in the business for 10 years, right? So it's all about that experience, that you apply on your day-to-day. And, if you have the desire, the need to work and to achieve that, of course you can do it. So now we have 40 plus 20 plus 10,000 agents. So that's 70,000. So we roughly have about 8,000 agents who are doing 90% of the deals. Okay. You have your top 0.01% that they do more than 100 deals a year, but they also have 40, 50 agents under them. So you think, okay, well, I'm going to go work with the best team in a neighborhood or in the area or in the city, but you're not going to get the main guy. you're going to get somebody who just got their license working for that team.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have other agents that, they have a very small team, maybe himself or herself and a couple of admin and marketing person and things like that. So that's where I am. I have no desire to have a big team. I would rather be very small, do a decent amount of deals, but also get to all my clients, right? So when you call, it does not go to some random person. I answer the phone call, I answer the text messages, and I work with those people directly one-to-one. So the point I'm trying to make is there's not a lot of people doing a lot of deals. It's roughly 8,000 agents selling more than 10 houses a year.
True.
So just because you think you're going to get your license and you're going to do, 10 deals a year and make $250,000, good luck, right?
Remember how you said when you were at the edge making the decision, whether you should quit your job and enter the real estate full time? There's a lot of thinking that goes into at that point of time because there's a lot of risk involved. What if
Yes.
things go sideways, right?
Yes.
And then that's the moment where you make the decision, and because there's a lot of risk, and then the reward is absolutely amazing, and that's what happened with you. After 10 years, now you are successful in the business,
Yeah.
and now just because you made that decision at that point of time, now these things are possible, right?
Yeah, no, you have to make that jump, whatever that is, whether it's real estate or mortgages or any other business, you have to make the jump. I mean, it's probably not for everybody.
Yeah.
Some people really like 9 to 5. I love my 9 to 5. Woke up at 6 a.m., went to the gym, went to work, came home, and I had Saturdays, Sundays off.
Yeah.
I don't remember when was the last time I took Saturdays, Sundays off. I tried.
And some people don't like working on the weekends.
Yeah.
As a real estate agent, I guess most of your weekends are occupied. You're
Mostly
busy.
weekends and evenings, or we basically work on people's schedule.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
So I don't set my schedule based on my availability. My schedule is set based on your availability. You're my client. You call me, and say, well, we're going to go see houses on Friday night from 6 to 7, 6 to 8.
Yeah.
So I work on your schedule.
True.
And that's how it's supposed to be honest, right? Because let's face it, we make pretty good money, right? And if you call your agent on Friday and say, I want to see houses at 6 o'clock and say, sorry, I can't, or you call them on Saturday and say, no, weekends I'm off limit, no weekends for me.
Yeah.
Why are you working with that person?
True.
Right? Because they're making pretty good money, right? So if they're making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 and you're working on their schedule, it's time to fire them.
True.
Because there's a lot of agents would rather, sacrifice their weekends, sacrifice their days and nights to be able to, provide that service to their clients, because ultimately that's what you do for a living. It's real estate, not for everybody. Again, it's not 9 to 5. I barely show houses at 10 a.m.
That's true.
Right? Because everyone's at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are very honest answers that you're sharing with me, all the knowledge and your experiences.
Sure.
I'm going to come back to the current real estate market.
Yeah.
So right now, if you remember back in 2020, 2021, fix and flips are very popular for investors.
Yes.
And that is not the case anymore. So real estate investors inside GTA or outside GTA, what is a good strategy for them if they want to make some money at this point of time?
See, at that time in 2020 and 2021, house prices, they were in the upward trajectory, right? You buy a house, let's say July of 2021, your closing is in October.
Yeah.
Your house is going up 3% every month. That wasn't normal. That's not how it's supposed to be.
True.
A 3% increase every single month. That's over 36% in 1 year, because that's what we had.
That's not a healthy market.
It's not.
Yeah,
if you see an increase in market prices and activity like that, that's when you need to take a step back. Because, we had Oshawa, Ajax would be, I grew up in that side in the Durham region, and then eventually we moved to the west side. So now Milton, Mississauga, Oakville. But the Oshawa market went up by, I think it was 90%. Ajax, Pickering, Whitby was like 75, 80%. So it didn't matter what kind of house you bought at that time.
Yeah.
You could just buy any kind of house, do some lipstick renovation, maybe flooring, maybe paint, some pot lights, put it back in the market. You're making 100,000 because you're holding it for 4 months, right? But now it's extremely difficult to make that kind of money, which is why we don't have a lot of investors. So you see the inventory is going up. It's because investors are taking a step back. Money's not cheap anymore.
True.
Interest rates high.
Yeah.
A lot of unpredictable market. You don't know what's happening. And investors are not comfortable with that. So they're taking a step back. But you could still make money, even in this market.
Yeah.
Probably not in downtown Toronto or Etobicoke, but there are markets that you can make money. There are houses that you can make money, but you have to be working with a very experienced agent who is not experienced in buying and selling, but also experienced in renovation. Somebody who's done it themselves, right? And then they can point out the kind of property that you could buy. I mean, I'll give you an example. We had a client, they were looking to buy a house in Oakville, and we looked at different price point. Their budget was 1.7. And we saw different kind of houses, 1.7, 1.8, 1.6. And I finally found a house that was 1.55. Well, it was listed for 1.6, so we can get this for 1550. But it needed a new kitchen.
Okay.
And the bathrooms needed to be renovated. All right, so kitchen and 3 bathrooms.
That was recently or?
Yeah, last month.
Oh, okay.
Right, so the house, I said, well, you could buy it for 1550. Your budget was 1.7. This is gonna be, you just need to renovate the kitchen, the bathrooms. And they're like, well, it's probably gonna cost us 200,000 or more. I'm like, no, it'll cost you under 100,000. And obviously they added some other stuff, but the whole renovation is costing them roughly around $100,000, right? So even in this market, even on that high price point, you could still make that kind of money. So you bought it for 1550. The house is 3,000 square feet, double car garage, 50 by 120 foot lot. So I know what that house is worth in today's market. That house in today's market after the renovation is roughly around 1.8. So you bought it for 1550. You spent 100,000. It cost you 1650. Let's say 50,000 agents, land transfer commissions, right?
Yeah.
So you're sitting at 1.7, and you could still sell it for 1.8, 1.85.
Yeah.
So you're making 150,000 in literally 3-4 months.
That's true.
But it's not for everybody. You have to be very well versed in either you or your agent to know what kind of product is selling.
Yeah.
So to do that, you have to really know the market. You have to know the stats. And videos like this, because you're making videos, you have to know the data. You have to know the stats.
100%.
You have to know what's happening.
Because
what we know versus what we're transferring into camera makes a huge difference. You have to know your numbers.
100%.
Otherwise, you cannot make videos about market stats. Oh, houses went up between August and September. It went up by 120,000 in Oakville. I know that because I run the numbers, because I create market updates. I create those stats. So you can make money in any kind of market as long as you know what you're buying. And the most important thing is location, right? And if your price point is a bit below, then obviously 1.5. There's Hamilton market. You can make money. Hamilton in good areas. There's Kitchener-Waterloo. You can make good money. There's St. Catharines. There's Barrie and Oshawa. These are all in the price point of between 7 to 800,000, roughly speaking. But a lot of those houses, you could buy it because they're not renovated. You can just buy it, renovate it, and flip it and send it, sell it back. But you have to know the market to be able to do those things. Right?
And as you said, it's a very important point that you got to know your numbers. And only the person that has studied the numbers in depth can actually talk in detail.
Yes, you have to know your numbers. I mean, I bought an investment property, and it was, again, 2.5 hours away from here. Nobody probably knows the name of the town. It's that far. It's from here, it's 2.5 hours north. I bought that property because I knew this is one of the biggest employer in that region. It's basically employing about 75% of the population in that town. And a lot of engineers, when they finish university, they go work there as co-op, and they're paying really, really good. It's a nuclear power plant employer. So I bought that house for $630,000. It had 4 rooms. I added 2 rooms, and I added a kitchen, right? And I'm handy, so I could do the renovation myself. It cost me $6,000 to put a new kitchen, brand new.
Nice.
But if you bring somebody else, it'll probably cost you $15,000. But I had the desire to learn these things because I wanted to make a bit more money in the process of flipping these houses.
True.
Again, 2.5 hours, nobody's going to go. A lot of my clients, I suggested, they're like, oh, it's too far. Who's going to manage it? Who's going to go every there if there's problem? But I had 4 rooms. I added 2 more rooms. I added another kitchen. So it's top floor and lower floor. And every single room is rented for $1,000.
Yeah.
Right. So my mortgage was $3,100 and I was bringing roughly $6,000 after expenses. I was still $2,000 cash flow positive every single month.
Nice.
Now they say, well, you can't buy a house in Canada because everything is negative cash flow. Well, yeah, if you go buy a condo that's 500 square feet for $685,000, you're going to lose money.
100%, yeah.
Right? But if you go, there's still houses. There's still houses that you could buy. But people choose to stay within GTA, within that 401 strip, as far as probably Kitchener-Waterloo. They don't even want to go to London, Ontario, right? So if you have the desire to live within the GTA, you got to pay the price because that's the price point. But I didn't want to buy something for $900,000 and make that investment and then sit on it. So coming back to that property, I had it for a year, $630. I bought it and I sold it back for $750 in 1 year in this market.
Nice.
The market's coming down, the prices are coming down, but see, as an investor, you have to look at the numbers. You have to look at your rate of return. You have to look at, well, how much is my mortgage? Am I going to cash flow? And if I'm going to cash flow, how much am I going to cash flow, right? Where else could you spend, use $120,000 or $130,000 of your money and you bring in $2,000 a month? So you're $130,000, technically speaking, because the rest of the money is not yours, it's the bank's.
Yeah.
It's bringing $2,000 a month for you every single month.
Yeah.
I had the projection that if I kept that property for 5 years, I would have, collected all my down payment money and still made another $200,000 on that property, irrespective of how far that property was.
The natural appreciation.
The natural, and I used 4%. Wow. I didn't use 10, 15, 20% that we experience here in the GTA, right? So there are still a lot of properties in not GTA, but within the GTA. I would say maybe 100 kilometers on each side. There are still properties that you could buy and you could make good money. There are still properties that you're going to be cash flow, right? It's either you rent upstairs and rent downstairs separately, right? Wherever you go,
or student rentals or whatever the case
or
is,
student rentals, right? And or professional rentals, because a lot of people cannot afford to rent a house for $3,000, but they can afford to pay $1,000, $800, $900 for every room, right? So you could still make money.
So there's money to be made in no matter the condition of the market if you use the right strategy.
100%. I'm a very safe guy when it comes to investment. I don't bet my money on appreciation. I bet my money on cash flow. If you buy a property that is cash flowing, you're never going to lose money.
That's true.
Does not matter if the market's going up or down. You bought it for $500, it's worth $350,000.
If you look at the investors in the US, they don't count appreciation. They only look at the cash flow per door.
Yes.
So as long as, because they have the longer terms for fixed interest rate
30
mortgages, 15, 20 years, I would say.
20 years,
but even if you're logged in for 15 years, you know how much your monthly mortgage is going to be for the next 15 years. So now the rent's going to go up and you're paying money towards your principal. So they don't even look at appreciation. All they care about is the money they're getting per door. And that's how they grow, right?
100%. That is the right way to do investment in real estate. We're so spoiled in Canada. We think we're going to buy something, keep it for 3 years, make $200,000 and sell it back. it's okay if your condo is negative cash flow. Don't worry about it. Just buy it because the property is going to go up in value by 200,000 in 2 years, 3 years. So it doesn't matter. That's the mentality that we have here in Canada, right? Nobody talks about cash flow because cash flow was never, nobody cared about making $1,000 extra a month. People cared about, I'm investing 120,000 for 600,000 condo, and my 120 is going to double in 2 years, 3 years. So it's pretty good investment, but they don't see the other side. What if the market crashes? What if the interest rate goes up? And that's what happened in 21, 22. Everyone bought with the anticipation that every single property that they bought, especially condo, they're going to go up in value 15, 20, 30%, right?
And there are a lot of people that I have seen, they're very comfortable. They're very okay with losing $500 or $1,000 a month on a couple of their rental properties. They were like, yeah, that's okay. I'm only paying $1,000 a month. I'm losing, it's a negative cash flow. But with time, I'm paying my principal and the appreciation.
Yeah, because they're hoping that the market
will go back to 2020.
Because that was the case over the last 5 years, probably 10 years. We don't see a lot of downturn in Canadian real estate market. I mean, if you look at the stats over 20 years.
I think mainly also because of immigration, a lot of people come in every year. There's always a demand.
Yeah, we love houses, immigrants, because back home, we were always told, buy land. They don't make any more. Buy land, buy houses, and you're going to make money. Why do you think so many people are well off owning real estate versus those that are renters?
100%.
There's got to be some kind of correlation between.
This is a mindset,
Yeah, this is a mindset. Yeah.
So I was going to come back to these recent rate cuts. And when you speak with your clients, what are you seeing in what are they thinking about the 2025 market, especially for the first-time home buyers?
Well, I had a conversation a couple of days ago with a client, and it's like, well, what are you telling your client that are selling? I said, I'm telling them to wait for February, March market.
Yeah, spring market.
Spring market to see what happens. I'll probably list it a bit earlier than spring because spring there's going to be a spike of listings. I want to be in February market. But I said, I'm telling my sellers to wait. And I have a few listings that I'm telling all of them, we got to wait. And he asked me, well, what do you think? When should I buy? Should I wait too? I said, absolutely not. You should buy if you're ready, right? If you're ready, if you have, the financial means that you can afford to buy a house and pay your mortgage and your down payments there, what are you waiting for? And I asked him that question. When you're buying this house, let's say we find you a house and he's looking for a semi. I said, how long are you planning on living in this house? At least 5 to 7 years. So it does not matter what market you're buying because you're living in 5, 7, 10 years. The market will, appreciate even if you use 5%. I never use 10% appreciation, by the way. It's always around 5% just to be safe. I said, buy something now because the rate's coming down. We had the rate cut 50 points and, the governor of Canada, he's hinting that there's going to be another 50 basis point cut in December.
There's a possibility.
There's a possibility. I know for a fact they're going to do 25, but I'm hopeful they do.
I'm on 25 side.
I think they're going to do 50, depending obviously on the inflation numbers and job market. Because if the job market's doing bad, they have no choice but to cut, right? So I told them if you're ready, the sooner you buy, the better it is. Yeah, you may not have as many options as you would in the spring market, but you need a house. You don't need 10 of them. So if you can afford to buy, this is the right time to buy because I anticipate. I already see the number of activities increasing, number of showings increasing, creeping up. This is not, a newsworthy.
Since when, though? Since October?
Since the rate cut.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Since the last rate cut.
October,
yes. Okay. So I see this showing activity increasing. They're not going to talk in the news about this. Oh, showing activity has gone up, right? They talk about average price, number of sales. Obviously, the report came up and, number of sales are going up, but I see the number of showings than activity first. That's the most important number that I look on a daily basis. Is it going up or is it coming down, right? Because every 10 showings, you expect an offer if your property is reasonably priced,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't get an offer after 10 showings, 15 showings, then you're priced high. Simple as that.
That's true.
There's no, magic to that, right? So when I see that number of activities going up, I know that the market may start going up in terms of the prices. There's not going to be over asking on every single property, prices going up.
Multiple offers,
prices going up 40, 50, 100,000 up. That's not going to happen, at least not in 2025. I have a feeling it will happen around spring of 2026.
In a hot market, how every property is listed with an offer date. Is it still the case or it's changing?
Yes and no. So there's the trend that I'm seeing, most of the agents, including me, I will list the property, below market value, not, dramatically, maybe 5 to 10% with an offer date. We give it a week. We try to see if we get multiple offers. And if we don't, then we terminate that listing and relist it again with the new price, which is most likely the price of what the seller is looking for. Okay, so that's what's happening. So you see houses getting listed, okay, but you also see terminated listings also creeping up. It's because those houses that were listed with an offer date, they didn't get an offer, it didn't sell. Now they terminate that listing and relist it again with the new price. So the number of new listings versus terminated are so close to each other on a weekly basis. You would see around 60, 40, 60, 65 houses listed, and then you will see about 55, 40 terminated.
Yeah.
Right? So you could tell that maybe there's 20 new listings in every week. I'm talking specifically Milton or Mississauga or Oakville, because these are the numbers that I look at.
True.
And then they get listed again, right? So that is what's happening. It's not working every single time.
True.
Out of 10 properties, 1 or 2 may sell on an offer date because they probably listed way, way below asking price, right?
Yeah.
There was one property in Oakville listed for 1.49, but I also know that property was listed before for 1.85. So if you're listing 400,000 below market value, you're going to get offers. And they got 11 offers. They did not accept a single offer. It went back to 18 and change.
Because the realistic expectation was 1.8, right?
Exactly. So when you're listing it way too low, below market value, everyone is going to give it a try. Because you say, well, you never know. So what tells you is there's buyers in the market. There are buyers in the market. But
they're looking for a good deal.
Everyone's looking for a good deal.
Yeah.
Because, rightfully so, they should be looking for a good deal, right? Because you will find some sellers that are over leveraged and they're desperate and they have to sell. They have no choice but to sell. You have state homes, you have bank-owned properties. We call that power of sales. You have those ones also. Again, we still have to sell it. The bank still has to sell it reasonably, compared to market value. But you could still find a good deal.
True.
Right?
I think my understanding is from what you have said is list the property at a lower price, but not too low, just to attract the buyers. If it's too low, then your asking price or the realistic price that you want, then it can backfire at you.
Yeah, if it's too low, it's literally pissing people off.
Yeah.
Right? Because buyers are so well informed these days and they're educated. We have House Sigma.
Exactly.
We have Zolo. We have all these websites. We can go, we could check the history of the property, see what's happening. You can't just, excuse my language, BS buyers anymore. You have to be very honest and straightforward.
Yeah.
And when people are trying to make things up, especially agents, buyers could tell right away. You're not telling the truth. They ask you how many listings you have currently listed in the market. And you're like, I have 5. They could check. It shows on realtor.ca you have none, right? So buyers are a lot more informed, but buyers are a lot more cautious now.
Yeah.
Because they've been burnt in the 2022 rate increase. February market changed, and now they're very, very careful.
True.
So a lot of these properties that are getting listed, getting terminated, and relisted again with the new price,
Yeah.
as long as it's reasonable, 5-6%, maybe 10% at max, yes, it will eventually sell.
True.
But I see some properties listed for 1.4, but they want 1.9. It just does not make any sense.
True.
Right?
I was going to come to my last question. Remember how we were discussing before the prices for condos
Yes.
and how much inventory that's sitting in the market right now for condos?
Yes.
And people that purchase pre-con, and let's say 2022 or 2023, they are suffering right now with the appraisals and everything.
Yes.
So do you have any suggestion for these buyers? What can they do to make things easier for them?
Well, first, if you are looking to buy a pre-construction condo, don't. That's the first thing. Do not buy a pre-construction condo right now because pre-construction prices are still elevated. It used to be 30% over the resale price in 21 and 22 market, even in 2023. Now it's around 15%, 10% higher than the resale value. And resale, you will find condos that are literally 6 months old. You don't have to buy a pre-construction unless you're buying a pre-construction because you want to put your down payment, but you have absolutely no intention of closing. That is the worst thing you could do for condos. I mean, you can make money on townhouses and detached houses. It's a different product. It's a different segment of the market.
Yeah.
But condo right now we have close to 8 months of inventory. Right? If me and you, we don't list a house, it will take 8 months for every single listing to be sold if no other condo is listed.
That's
so condo is bleeding. It's getting really, really bad. A lot of condos are not selling. And for those buyers that bought pre-construction condos, it's bad. It's very bad. I had 2 calls a couple of weeks ago from sellers who bought a pre-construction in Milton and Mississauga. 1 bedroom, 1 washroom with the parking for $685,000 in November of 2023.
Wow.
Like, you just didn't look at the market. You just, trusted somebody to say, okay, buy a pre-construction condo, you're going to make a lot of money, and you did. Because we already knew what was happening in 2023. It's all over the news. Condo market's bleeding. It's getting bad. It's the worst we've seen in 10 years, I think, or probably more. So why are you buying a pre-construction condo with no intention of closing that condo? 1 bedroom plus then for $685,000, and it's 700, probably less than 650 square feet. So you're paying over $1,000 per square feet for that condo. Meanwhile, resale condo is around $925, $910 per square foot, right? Had somebody else in Etobicoke bought a condo for $950,000 and change.
Oh, wow.
2 bedroom, 2 washroom, 800 square feet. They're paying $1,150 per square feet. And they bought it also last year. What makes you think you could buy a condo for $950,000, 2 bedroom, 2 washroom, when the houses are selling for $950,000, maybe 10 minutes from you, 5 minutes from you? Not at Etobicoke, but maybe Mississauga. Townhouse is selling for $950,000.
A freehold property.
Right? Freehold property.
Yeah.
No maintenance fee. And that 800 square feet condo, your maintenance fee is around $650. You're never going to cash flow on that, first of all. You're about $1,800 maybe a month in negative cash flow. So there is no solution.
I think that's where working with an honest real estate agent come in place.
Yeah.
Because if it's their job to make sure that the investment you're making, I mean, no one can predict the future, but at least there's a calculated risk, right?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, see, I've lost probably a bunch of deals because of the pre-construction condos. A lot of them, they came to me and they're like, well, we want to buy a pre-construction condo and then sell it as assignment. I said, well, that time is past. It's not going to happen. You're going to lose money. Instead, we buy you a property that's cash flowing, maybe 2 hours away, an hour and away from downtown Toronto. They said, no, we want to be within the GTA, preferably Mississauga, Milton, Etobicoke, Vaughan is another area. A lot of condos are going up. And well, it has to make sense,
Yeah.
right? If you're buying a pre-construction and it's 700,000, but the same unit that's 2 years old selling for 585, it's probably not a very smart investment,
That's
right?
true.
And I've lost probably a lot of deals because of that, because I know for a fact they went and bought pre-construction, because I know they're calling me back and they're like, well, we just walked into the builder office, or this agent was sending me lists every day and following up, and we didn't know what we were signing, and the agent didn't tell us what we were doing, and he basically fooled us into signing the pre-construction agreement. I'm sorry, but nobody can fool you to sign a 50-page document. You're entitled to a lawyer. You have a 10-day cooling period that you can walk away from every single deal for pre-construction. It is your job. It's your due diligence. It's your money.
That's true. That's
right?
true. Yeah.
It's not the agent's money. It's your money. You have a lot at stake here. I know somebody who bought 2 condos in Oshawa for $800,000, 2-bedroom, not 1 but 2. It's not even worth $600,000 now, right? So there's a lot of those happening, and the best advice I can give them is you need to call the builder. You bought for X. You ask for a 50, 60, 80, 100,000 discount and see if the builder is going to honor that. And builders are in the business of making money,
Yeah.
So most likely they're going to say no, but you have no other choice. You say, reduce the price by this much, or else I'm walking away. You can keep my deposit, and they will most likely come to you, and they might sue you
For
the
damages.
difference. Yes. It will take
It's a
maybe...
legal binding contract once you sign
There's
it.
no way out of it. Some builders may choose not to come, because if you bought it for, let's say if the difference is a $25,000, $30,000 in price point, it may not be worth their time and their lawyers to come after you. But if you bought something for $950, it's worth $600. I can guarantee you they will come for damages. It does not matter if it's going to take 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years. They're coming for their damages. And every single judge who's going to look at it, it will take them less than 5 minutes and say $250,000 damages honor to the builder, and they have to pay. Right? So there's no way out of this for most people. Just pray that the interest rate comes down to an extent that the property value goes back up to an extent that you don't end up losing. But I don't see that happening, right? Because we have 8 months of inventory in the market. It's going to take a long time, and there's going to be a lot more condos, right? Because once we get to December 15, a lot of listings are going to be taken off the market, a lot of listings. So you might have, all of a sudden, you have 4 months of inventory instead of 8 months.
Why do you think that?
Well, because people don't like to sell their condos and houses during Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Makes
Unless
sense.
it's a vacant condo, they don't care. But most of the inventories, they come off the market, mid-December, December 15, and they go back in the market second week of January. Okay? So that will happen. But then you keep on getting more spike in terms of inventory for condos. You know how many people are waiting today to list their condos in the spring market because they think they're going to make, they're going to make money? Assignment sales are bleeding. They're the worst performing asset class right now. Nobody's buying assignment. I have people... I'm part of a lot of different Facebook groups on assignment specifically.
You can't list them on MLS, right?
You cannot list them on MLS because, again, it's to builders' advantage. They're not going to let you list it on MLS because they might have phase 2, 3, and 4, and you might end up competing with them. That's why they're not letting you advertise it. But there are Facebook groups, there are, WhatsApp groups that all agents are on that group. So we say, well, we have an assignment. And I have a lot of those assignments. Bought it for $1 million, put 20% down. They want to walk away from their deposit as long as you take it. So $200,000 appreciation, if you see it that way, you might get. But that condo is probably worth $700,000. So even if you're buying it for $800,000 after their 20%, you're paying $100K more.
Yeah.
And you're taking a big gamble that eventually this is going to go up. I think condo market will take at least until probably 2027 to recover.
So that's really, I feel bad for some of these people that are stuck in this
Yes.
situation. But thank you so much for all the discussion and the insights and your experience that you shared with me. I had a great conversation.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.